Good evening, everyone. This is the June
Over
10th,
Carolyn.
2020 meeting of the
right.
Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm
Thank you,
all
Carolyn,
members and persons
Thank you, Carolyn.
on the agenda are present and can hear me.
I can't hear you really clearly, but
Excuse me. Just listen and listen for your prompt, okay?
I'm here.
All right. Tom Fallon is here. Michelle Colruss, are you here?
Hello, is this the Auburn Conservation Commission meeting?
It is, sir.
It is.
Please hold.
May I ask who this is?
Yep, this is David Roman from Comprehensive Environmental.
Sir, can you please wait?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
IT.
All right.
Trying to label the callers.
All right. Michelle Colruss, are you on the line? Carolyn?
It's not really clear. This is Carolyn. It's not really clear like it was last time.
Carolyn Corvo,
Yep,
are
I
you
got
here?
you, Carolyn. Thank you.
Allison Holmes,
Okay.
are you here? Allison Holmes. Nathan Rand, are you present? And I know Tony Romney is not available for tonight's meeting, so I'm going to go through the roll again. Tom Fallon is here. Is Michelle Colruss here?
And this is Dave Roman again. I was wondering if possible,
Sir, you
when
may
I'm up
wait,
at,
sir.
the
Sir!
second hearing for Auburn Water District, if it's possible to share my screen.
That's a Caleb question. I'm just
Amanda.
the IT person.
Amanda.
I'm naming people as people pop on.
Amanda.
I don't think she can hear you.
Oh, was I on mute?
All right, go ahead.
You were.
All right, sir. Mr. Roman, please wait your turn. We're trying to get the meeting underway. And right now, sir, I don't have an agenda, okay? So please wait your turn. All right, once again, joining me today is Tom Fallon. This is Michael Garland. I'm chair of the Auburn Conservation Commission. Is Michelle Colruss on the line? Is Carolyn Corvo on the line? Is Carolyn? Carolyn, are you there?
I am here. Here's Mike.
Okay. Is Allison Holmes on the line? Is Allison Holmes on the line? Is Nathan?
Phone now.
Is Nathan? I'm sorry. Who?
That might have been Allison. Caller 8.
Allison Holmes, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Nathan Rand, are you here? All right. We do have a quorum consisting of myself, Tom Fallon, Carolyn Corvo, and Allison Holmes. There are also town officials and
Yep, I'm here.
employees who are participating. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Building Commissioner Caleb Moody. Here. DDIS Director Darlene Coyle.
Here.
All right. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience, and please do not interrupt me. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Conservation Commission of Wednesday, June 10, 2020 is now called to order at approximately 7:03 p.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current and ongoing state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Furthermore, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by remote participation for the public only, although some staff and Mr. Fallon are physically located in the planning board meeting room in Town Hall. These town employees are practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's orders. For the public to join remotely by phone, call 1-408-650-3123 and enter access code 942-845-549. Or the public can join via computer at gotomeeting.com/join/942-845549. The remote access information has been posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please also note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Accordingly, those members of the Conservation Commission and employees and members of the public who participate, please be aware that other people may be able to see you, and please take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Now, we're going to begin the meeting with our first item on tonight's agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, as chair of the commission, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Now, after members of the commission have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. I will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. And once I have a list of all public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. And if for some reason technical difficulties arise, I will suspend the meeting while attempts to resolve these difficulties are made. And with that, we will proceed. The first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 p.m. public hearing. The applicant is Southwest Manufactured Housing. Request for determination of applicability for replacement of 2 sheds at 23 Pinrock Road in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
Tom Fallon, so moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Carolyn.
Okay, and that was Carolyn and you second, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Nathan, was that you?
Yes.
Welcome aboard, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Stelmach, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Oh, not bad.
Good.
So, Mr. Stelmach, before you make your presentation, I had an opportunity to go out to the property site, and
Okay.
and those sheds look more like garages to me. Am I mistaken?
They do have garage doors on them, so yes, they could be called garages. We've just always called them sheds. They're built right on the ground, right on cinder blocks. So, yes, they could be called garages.
All right. Thank you for that. So,
Yep.
what is your plan?
So what I'd like to do, because if you went out and took a look at them, you can see they're in pretty rough shape. So we'd be looking to remove them and then replace them with one 8x40 storage container, because they're really just used for storing frost blankets and different miscellaneous construction stuff, from the developments that we do. So they're just at a point where they're not really in a state where we can repair them. So if we're going to do anything with them, we'd like just to remove them, and we think just an 8x40 storage container would suit our needs for what we're looking to put back into them.
Okay.
So we'd actually be looking to reduce the amount of, impervious surface, and the storage container would sit right on the gravel that those garages or sheds were originally built on.
Now, is this a pre-manufactured unit?
Yes, yeah, it's one of the, like a shipping container. A lot of times they're used for, hauling stuff across the road. You can actually purchase them. So we'd just be looking to get one of those because they're good for keeping rain and rodents and stuff out of the blankets and whatnot that we store.
So basically, a truck just drops off this storage container on the property?
You got it, yep. And sets it right on the gravel that's already underneath those sheds as it is now.
Okay, so there's no site work that's needed to put this storage bunker in place?
We might have to level a little bit once we do remove the garages because it is changing shape. Going from 24 feet to 40 feet deep. So there might be some slight grading that we might have to do. But besides that, no, there wouldn't be any other site work that's needed because the storage container would sit right on the ground.
Okay, and what's the closest point to the wetland?
We would put it right on the edge of the 50-foot buffer looking at the plan that I submitted.
Right.
Because we would put it more in line where the left-hand shed is.
Okay.
So it would be basically right on the 50-foot buffer line.
What would be involved in demolishing the two shed/garages that are there currently?
A 30-yard dumpster and our mini excavator.
Okay. And so you anticipate that the demolition would take, what, about a day or less?
Yeah, a day and a half
Okay.
at most.
All right. I have no other questions. Do any members of the board have any questions for Mr. Stelmach?
Yes, this is Carolyn. I may have missed this, but what would they be constructed of? There's one constructed of in the same location, and my other question is, when would this be done?
Justin, do you hear the question?
Yes, I did. I didn't know it was if you had to speak first,
No,
Mr.
go
Garland.
ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Feel free to
It would
answer.
the new container would be a metal prefabricated container. And if it was a negative determination by the board, we would look to do this work within the next month or so.
Okay. I mean, clearly,
Thank you. Thank you.
Allison, any question?
I guess I just would want it to absolutely be outside the 50-foot buffer if you were putting in something new. But you don't have anything drawn on here, so it's kind of hard to see what you are implying. Is there any erosion control going to be up while you're doing the demo?
Mr. Stelmach?
Yes, on the downhill side. Yep. On the downhill side, which is really behind the sheds, it's pretty level there before it drops off right to where the wetlands are. But it does slope down slightly to the area located behind where the sheds are now.
Do you have objection to, agreeing to move it outside the 50-foot zone?
I'd have to take a look at that and see, and actually go back there and measure it. My only reason is because there is an area that goes slightly behind the sheds that's outside of the buffer zone, and we do store, loam there sometimes. I'm sure Mr. Garland saw when he took a walk there. I just wouldn't want to block that access off. So if that was the only way to do it, I guess my answer would be I would do it if I did decide to move forward, if that was the board's decision.
Obviously, it's preferable. I mean, I think any effort to do that as much as possible is always appreciated.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
my observation, this is the chair, my observation was that you do have some room towards Pinrock Road where you could actually bring the storage bunker closer to the road. Would that be a problem for you?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right. Nathan,
So
any questions, Nathan?
No, I was going to ask the same thing. If it could be moved to the left where that trailer is now, or moved forward, but just to get it out of the 50-foot zone. Exactly.
Tom, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Is there any member of the public that has any comment about Mr. Stelmach's application? if there is no further questions from either members of the board or the public, is there a motion to close?
I make a motion that we close the hearing for, the applicant, Justin Stelmach.
Okay, and that was Carolyn Corvo. Is there a second?
Yes,
I'll second.
Carolyn, yes.
Okay, that was a second by Nathan. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to close, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay, it's a vote. All right, Mr. Stelmach, we hope to render a decision this evening, so I thank you for your attendance.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, bye-bye. You too. Bye-bye.
I keep looking at that clock and I know it's wrong, so I'm gonna stop doing that. The next item on our agenda is a 7:10 public hearing, the Auburn Water District for a notice of intent for the proposed interconnection with the city of Worcester at Southbridge and Sword Streets in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
Sean Fallon, so moved.
May I have a second?
Nathan Randall,
I'll
second.
second it, Carolyn.
Okay, Carolyn, Nathan beat you this time. You can have the next one. Is there any discussion?
Sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
it's a
Aye.
vote. It's a vote.
made it.
Is there anyone here on behalf of the Auburn Water District?
Mr. Chair, it's Ken Smith, Superintendent from the Auburn Water District, on the telephone link.
Hello, Ken, how are you?
I'm good. How's the board doing tonight?
We're doing okay, thank you.
I tried to get on the other link, the GoToMeeting link, and it wouldn't work, so I don't know. Dave, are you on with us?
I am on, Ken.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, this is Dave Roman. He's from our consultant, Comprehensive Environmental, Inc., and he's the project engineer on this. I'd just like to, with your permission, just like to give you a brief intro into what we're doing here,
Please.
to bring the board up to speed.
Absolutely.
The Auburn Water District is one of 3 water districts in the town of Auburn. We run the Auburn Water District and the Woodland Water District. Elm Hill Water District up on Packagug Hill is independent. Together, our 2 districts probably serve 70% of the town, well over 11,000 people. In an effort to maintain adequate sources to serve our customers, our present customers, and our future customers, the Auburn Water District is always looking for new water sources. Not that demand is increased, but you always got to plan for the worst here. So through the years, the Auburn Water District, in conjunction with CEI, has been very successful in obtaining grants under the Water Management Act, and the grants are called SWIMI, the Sustainable Water Management Initiative. Dave, did I get that right?
Yes, Ken.
And we've been, since about 2015, we've been getting grants to study how to develop new sources of water. And these grants included recycling water, rediverting water, recharging water. We've drilled exploratory wells to see if we could find some more water. As the projects and the grants morphed into a bigger, more concentrated effort, after studying several options, it was felt that perhaps the best way to get a supplemental source of water would to buy water from the city of Worcester. The city was approached, and they're agreeable to it. For those who don't know, the city of Worcester has an in-city water rate and an out-of-city water rate. Like the people at Elm Hill and the people in Woodland pay a higher water rate than the people that live in the city. And the city has done that for many years. The city has a huge water system, all the Kettlebrook reservoirs. It's quite an extensive system, with millions and millions of gallons of capacity. We approached them and said that we would be interested in obtaining a supplemental source. if nothing's wrong, all the wells are up and running, and we have 13 of them. Nothing's down for maintenance, or it's extremely dry, or God forbid, we have another accident up on the turnpike or the highways with fuel releases, of which we have numerous, and we've had to shut down wells in years past as a precautionary measure to protect the water source while the release is being cleaned up. Last February, we had 4 accidents in 1 month, or 4 releases. Recently, we had a couple of rollovers at the interchange with less than a week apart. So we're very susceptible to contamination from accidents with fuel releases and substance releases, as well as contamination of roadway salt. We have wells adjacent to many of the highways, and people always say to us, why did you put your wells next to the highway? Well, the way it really is, why did the highways get built next to our wells?
Exactly.
Back in the 50s and 60s. So we're always trying to, have adequate sources so we don't have to have, water bans. We do everything we can. So, as I said, the grants steered us towards a interconnection, a permanent one. We have some emergency interconnections right now down at Burnett Street, Arnold Road, and through Woodland we can do it, but we're looking for something more permanent, more robust, and we come up with a design to tie into the Worcester water system down near Hope Ave, and to run a water line up Southbridge Street on the west side of Southbridge Street going south, and that water line would run all the way down to Sword Street, and at Sword Street we would have to place a water main under the railroad tracks, under Leesville / Kettlebrook, and to tie it into our existing water main on Sword Street in the vicinity of the sewer pump station over there. The design was developed. We've gone through permitting at the state level. We've submitted EIRs. We've been dealing with Mass DOT on this, because hopefully we have to locate a little metering building that's going to be within there right away down by Worcester Elevator. And as the result of these efforts in almost 5 years with the work, we've come up with the proposal that it's on here now, hence the notice of intent, and that's why we're here before the board. If that's a quick summary, Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'd like to turn it over to Dave Roman for a more detailed explanation.
That would be fine.
Thanks, Ken. This is Dave Roman from Comprehensive Environmental. So I'm actually sharing my screen right now, and Ken pretty much went through all the different slides, so I'm just going to do like the lightning round here about just a 1 minute overview really quickly.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Dave.
No problem. So as Ken said, Auburn Water District supplies water to most of the town of Auburn, and as he mentioned, a lot of the wells are right next to major highways like Route 90, so they're susceptible to contamination from fuel spills and salts, and they've been doing some monitoring over the years, and the chloride levels in the wells has been increasing. So, if one of these wells, were to become inoperable, or multiple wells were to become inoperable or down for maintenance, it's possible that, water shortages could occur. So the real purpose of this project is, to improve the overall system resiliency, as Ken mentioned, to be able to handle emergencies, like if there's a fuel spill on the highway that might take the well offline for, some months, or just to, handle future demands if they were to increase. So the purpose of this project is to construct a water supply interconnection with the city of Worcester. As Ken had mentioned, this project has been going on now for probably 4 years or so, looking at a bunch of different alternatives and options. So there was quite an in-depth analysis done to see if there were some possible sources within Auburn that could be used. So 5 different options were looked at. And what it turns out is that the options either did not provide enough water or they had their own issues with contamination that would require treatment and that would thereby be quite expensive and more or less too expensive. So the interconnection with Worcester was selected as the most viable option. So as Ken had mentioned, this project is right along Route 12, right at the Auburn-Worcester line, and it goes down to Sword Street. So, you know, the work that would occur is really installation of a water main directly on the existing pavement of Route 12. And then there is a requirement to actually install the pipe underneath Kettle Brook through jacking. And just so you're all aware, you know, we did look at the potential of installing the water main along Sword Street, but it's currently not feasible. There's a series of culverts that cross underneath the road there that are in quite bad shape, and there was just no feasible way to get it over there. So the jacking, you know, would occur underneath Kettle Brook, about 5 feet below the bottom of Kettle Brook. So looking at my screen here on the right-hand side, if you can see this, it's probably a bit zoomed out, but we've got the wetland flags marked out here in green. So there is a small wetland that runs directly next to Southbridge Street for Route 12, and there's obviously a wetland around Kettle Brook. So the proposed water main, you know, will be within the buffer zone along Route 12. And again, most of this, or all of the water main, I should say, will be installed, you know, on the existing pavement. So the mitigation measures here would be perimeter controls to ensure that, you know, no sediment enters the wetlands. And then similarly, on the jacking side of things, the way that this will be constructed is they'll essentially dig out a couple of jacking pits, say about 10 feet deep on either side of the brook. And again, that won't be within the wetland resource. It'll be outside of the wetland resource area. And then they will hydraulically push a steel casing about 5 feet below the channel bottom of Kettle Brook, and then insert the water main into that. And there's no surface impacts expected during the jacking. And the jacking pits will be filled in, you know, after construction. And the mitigation measures for this, you know, it's likely that some sort of dewatering will be needed, as, you know, the jacking will be occurring below the brook. So the contractor will be required, you know, to get a construction dewatering permit as part of this. And that's all that we had today. So open for any questions, and thank you for listening.
I want to thank both of you for your presentations. I think you took a lot of information and you really boiled it down to the most salient points. Where are you in terms of other permitting?
Yeah, so for other permitting, there's a couple things going on right now. So this project, you know, since we're getting water from the city of Worcester, and Worcester actually gets its water from both the Nashua Basin and the Blackstone Basin, we're required to do some permitting under the Inter-Basin Transfer Act. So that requires submittal of an environmental impact report. That is currently in process. So we submitted that about a month ago, and we are expecting to receive the final comments for that, actually probably on Monday. So that's in process. I would expect that would be completed this summer. We are required to have a Mass DEP water distribution modification permit. That is on hold until you know, we're ready, until everything is approved. So once the EIR is approved, if we're able to obtain an order of conditions here, we'll finalize the plans and we'll do that permitting. And then the DOT permit, we need a highway access permit in particular, there is a small metering facility. It's about the size of a 20-foot by 10-foot shed. It will be installed right next to Route 12. So we're currently working with DOT on obtaining a easement for that. So still very much in process.
Understood. I know because of COVID, it makes doing sidewalks rather challenging, but I think it would still be beneficial if members of the board, if we could arrange and, practicing social distancing to walk those proposed areas, especially on Sword Street, if that would be agreeable to the applicant.
The water district has no objection to that.
Okay, so I guess the only question then would be when we can do it. Any thoughts?
As far as the water district, we're available anything but this weekend.
But it was this weekend that I wanted to do it. Now, I'm kidding, you can.
Okay, I'll come back.
No,
I'll
it's
come
fine.
back.
It's fine. It's fine. Actually,
Yeah.
so why don't we plan on doing it? Our next meeting is going to be June 24th. Would you be available that prior Saturday?
That would make it the 20th, if I understand it right. Next week.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah, I can make it happen. First day of summer.
Okay.
Dave, what's your schedule?
Yep, we can make that work.
Okay, I'm not cutting into your fishing time, am I, Ken?
No, I don't fish.
Okay, well then
I do the drinking part.
very good. In that case, why don't we plan to meet? Why don't we meet at Sword Street then at 9 o'clock on June 20th?
Okay, 9 a.m. At Sword Street, in the vicinity of the. It'd probably be best to park over where the culverts are, something like that,
Sure,
where the culverts cross.
we'll look for you. But I have I think an idea of where we can meet. Before we continue, though, I wanted to ask if any other members of the commission have any questions for these gentlemen.
Yes, this is Carolyn. And this question isn't answered because my audio is a little bit difficult. But would this be just a temporary use of the city district water, and would it change or would it change the quality of any of the Auburn Water District water?
Dave, if I may, this is a permanent connection. It's a multi-million-dollar project, and the pipe will be permanent, and it would be connected permanently to our system. The key idea here is this is a supplemental source of water. If we don't need it, we're not going to, open. We can remotely open the valve only if needed. As far as the water quality goes, we've tested for a number of compounds, and we don't expect any deterioration in the water. As a matter of fact, in the Sword Street area, Sword Street is currently a 10-inch dead-end main. So if we bring water to the end of Sword Street, Worcester has a healthy chlorine level, and it would help to bring up chlorine levels in that area and eliminate the dead-end main. Dead-end mains are not good. That's old school to make a dead-end main. Today, we loop them wherever possible. I hope that answers your question.
So if it was necessary to use some, then it would only affect that Sword Street area end of town. Is that correct?
No, it would be tied into, we have two pressure systems. We have a high pressure system, which uses the tanks in West Auburn up in Prospect Street, and we have a low pressure system that covers most of the north two-thirds of Auburn, and this would feed into that pressure system. It's not just Sword Street, it would benefit the whole pressure system. The wells for our low pressure system, it is not just one isolated area. It will benefit the whole system.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from board members? Okay. Are there any members of the public that have any comment? Okay. Being greeted with silence. So, Mr. Smith, you will assent to continue the public hearing in this matter until our next meeting on June 24th?
The Auburn Water District agrees to that.
Okay, and I don't know if we can give you a specific time, so I can't give you a specific time. It'll be sometime between.
You can give him 7.
Okay, so I've just been informed by Mr. Moody that we can put you on for 7 p.m. on Wednesday, June 24th.
Dave, is that adequate? That you can make that?
Yes, that works.
Okay, and so
Okay.
we will continue the public hearing until June 24th at 7 p.m. and we will meet with you on Saturday, June 20th at 9 a.m.
Sounds good to me.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for your participation. We really appreciate it. It's not the easiest way to conduct business, but I think you've done it well, so I appreciate that and thank you.
No, thank you, Chair, and members of the board for their time and consideration, and we'll see some of you on the 20th.
Outstanding. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Chairman, this is Allison. Do we need to make a motion to continue? Because I will do that.
Please.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we continue the Town of Auburn Water District till next meeting at 7 o'clock.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Yay, all right.
That was Nathan. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, it's a vote.
Aye.
All right, very good. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is an application from Jacob Warren. It's a request for determination of applicability to construct a 16 by 33 foot above ground pool and 10 by 33 deck at 4 Whitetail Run. Is there a motion to open?
Tom Fallon, motion to open the hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And who was
I'll
that?
second it.
Was that Allison?
Actually, it's Michelle.
Oh, Michelle, nice to see you. Well, not really,
Hi.
but hear from you. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Mr. Warren, are you on the line, sir?
Yes, sir, this is Mr. Moore.
Okay. So I had an opportunity to actually meet with Mr. Warren on Saturday. I went to his property for Whitetail Run, and so, Mr. Warren, your project I think is pretty straightforward. You want to construct a pool in your backyard.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you and I had some discussion at the property, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. Now, by looking at the property, it appears that you would be able to site your pool beyond the 100-foot buffer zone. Is that fair?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, are you therefore going to amend your request to locate your pool outside of the 100-foot buffer zone area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You pinky swear on that, sir?
I've already submitted plans for outside the 101-foot buffer zone.
Okay. And where were those submitted?
They were submitted to the permit office on the website,
Okay.
the building office.
All right, yeah, Mr. Moody has confirmed that he received them. Okay, sir. Very good. My questions have been answered. Are there any questions from members of the board?
This is Carolyn. I did visit for Whitetail Run on Monday, and I agree with you, Mike. I agree with you.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board? There being none, are there any questions from the public? There being none, is there a motion to close?
Tom Fallon, I make a motion we close the public hearing.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
And that was who? Who seconded the motion?
I'll second that.
Carolyn.
Carolyn did.
Okay, so Carolyn, if you're gonna jump in, you just have to announce your name, okay? I appreciate your enthusiasm, I do, but we need to.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right. Is
No problem.
is there any discussion? All right, there being none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. All right.
Aye.
All right, it's a vote. So,
Aye.
Mr. Warren, we'll be issuing a decision probably this evening, so I want to thank you for your participation tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garland.
All right.
Thank you very much, board members.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good evening, sir. All right. The next item on our agenda is a 7:30 public hearing. Mike Pham for a notice of intent for the construction of a single-family home with a driveway and septic system at 90 Tinker Hill Road in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
Tom Fallon, so moved.
Is there a second?
Michelle Colross, second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
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 Okay. It's a vote. Mr. Pham, are you on the line? Is there anyone on behalf of the applicant for 90 Tinker Hill Road on the line? Okay. Well, I understand that a new plan was submitted by, I think by Mr.
Mr.
Pham.
Chairman,
Yes, hello.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Hi, I tried to get on the video link, and for some reason the information I was given didn't allow me in, so I have to talk to you by phone. This is David Sadowski from the principal of DJ and Associates.
Mr. Sadowski,
I'm
good
the
evening,
one
sir.
that- Yes. Good evening. How are you? I'm sorry I'm talking over the phone, but I don't have a computer connection for some reason.
It's okay, no worries, at least you're here. So, did you just submit a new plan today?
I did. I actually sent it over yesterday, and then I gave hard copy delivery this morning. The reason is Darlene had taken a look, and in Auburn, you need to design for an extra bedroom. So the 4-bedroom design was only for a 4-bedroom house, and I needed to increase the design to 5 bedrooms. So the trenches increased from 31 to 39 feet, and the fill was moved out accordingly. The new plan shows that the edge of the fill 37 feet from the wet line, and it shows the closest trench 69 feet from the wet line. The actual house and everything else did not move. The proposed building and the proposed tanks, pump chamber and such.
Okay. So I went and took a look on Saturday, and I must admit I was eyeballing it because I didn't see. I mean, I saw where the property was staked out, but I mean, obviously it's an undeveloped parcel of land, steep that slopes away from Tinker Hill Road. Mr. Moody has given me a copy of the new plan. Okay. So according to the plan, you're going to actually install the septic in the front of the, towards the front of the property, correct?
That's correct, sir. It's the same as the other plan.
Right, okay. Do you need to bring in any fill material to level out the property since it does slope at a decent rate away from the road?
There will be some, but there'll be excavation for the house itself. And when the excavation for that happens for the basement, some of that material will be used. Of course, there'll be sand brought in. We did have great septic rates up in there. We had a 7 and a 10-minute perk.
Okay.
As you could, if you saw the piles from where the excavation went for the soil testing, you could see it looked like a pretty good gravel sand that was evident. Also, that wetland system was completely bone dry. I understand there's a couple kettles up above that fill up in the wintertime and run down through. They do create a wetland. There was nothing flowing the day that I was there this morning looking at it.
I mean, I was there on Saturday, and I admit I didn't see any. There was no flowing water at all. So I tend to agree with with your assessment. And I did see You did perk test or you did deep hole? Did you do both?
We did both.
That's what I thought. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we did four deep holes. I'm sorry to talk over you, Mr. Chairman. We did 4 deep holes and 2 perk holes. 1 perk for the reserve, 1 perk for the primary. That's where we get the 7 and the 10-minute rates.
Uh-huh.
And then the deep holes, we went 10 feet without hitting anything.
Understood. Okay. When would you intend to start construction?
Well, we would hope to start within 2 months.
Okay.
I mean, I know there's an appeal period. There's a bunch of different things that happen. The septic review was done by Darlene. There was a few minor things that were on it. One of them was I had to show a capacity for another bedroom, and the other one were just in the notes. There was some different wording and different language that made the notes more stringent. As far as inspections and things like that, and that both of us would be present at the same time, things like that.
All right. Are there any comments from other members of the board?
This is Allison.
Please proceed, Allison.
Oh, thank you, sorry.
It's okay.
I just, in general, looking at it, it looks fine except for the house just being so close to the wetland and within the buffer zone there. Is there any thoughts to alternate, designs where you could move the garage forward and kind of, move things around to get a little bit less of that buffer zone work?
Through the chair, I could respond if that's
Please.
okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, this is a rural residential zone. My setback on the side is 20. I do have it at 24. I could move it over a few more feet. It would get it outside the 25-foot line. But there really needs to be an area to back the car up to be able to drive up out of that location. It's really not a good, it's not a good location. It's not a good location to back a car up the hill and try to get on Tinker Hill, especially, I'm sure, when the winter comes. So the average cars are shrinking. I could, if I did with the garage, move the whole structure over. I could give it a couple more feet, which would, instead of being 24, I could get it to 26, 27 feet off of the wetland line.
Well,
And again, it is a vegetated wetland
right. But,
that's out there. But it still needs to be protected because it's a resource area.
correct, and not only that, but we also, in Auburn, we have a 25-foot no-build zone.
Okay, then I can take and I'll slide the house because we do have the lot line staked by a professional land surveyor, and I'll be able to take the house and slide it over to get it 21 feet off the line. And that will put the house approximately 27 feet off of that wetland line, and that'll take it out of the 25-foot no build. Would that be satisfactory?
But there's no other considerations to just like the shape of it, and I know I'm asking a lot, but it just seems like you have a good amount of space, where maybe you would want a lawn or something. There might be some reason you have, but, with just looking at it on the plan, it seems like there's a good portion of your house that's in this 25 to 50 foot buffer when maybe a little bit less could be in there and more could be just outside that with a bit of a change in design. And if you have reasons for that, I'm happy to hear them.
I can't really speak for the builder. I'm just the principal of an engineering company.
So let me ask you this.
I do know we could look at maybe downsizing the garage some that would slide it over a little bit more. It is a 4-bedroom house design.
Right.
If we took and twisted it, what's restricting me is there's a wetland cuts on a 45 diagonal behind the house. It's not like I could go back any further with the house, and then I'm restricted to be so far away from the reserve area. It's a mandatory 20 feet, and then the reserve has to be 10 feet off the primary, and the primary has to be so far away from the street. And with the rural residential, I can't get the house in front of this whole thing, so I'm kind of stuck on this particular lot. The rest of the lot, there's not going to be any problems at all. There's one more to the left of it. These 2 lots were cut out by land planning. My client bought the property. Then he's got another 30 acres in the back
And he's looking at doing 3 pork chop lots and getting the houses way away from everything. This is really going to be the only lot that will have anything to do with this wetland, even though we flagged the whole thing, both sides all the way back.
So
This will be the only time I'll come before the board.
well, that's your hope at least. Have you, there's no way that you can locate the septic behind the house, is that fair to say?
That's fair to say, especially with the wetlands.
Okay, all right. So this is based on, you can slide the house, you can get, or your representation is that you can't get the house out of the 25-foot no-build zone though, correct?
Oh no, I'll get it out of the 25 no build. I'll get it to 27 feet.
All right.
I'll slide it 3 more feet over because I've got 20. If you look at the plan, the
All
right-hand side shows a 24,
Right.
and I can slide the house to 21 and still not be in. I still will meet the rural residential side yard setback of 20, especially with a stake lot line. So I can pull it out of the 25, and I'll have it at 27.
Okay.
I can talk to the builder and see if he'll go to a 22-foot wide garage. Problem is, with the doors open up and you have 2 cars inside, you start dinging and hitting, and you need a couple feet on each corner of the garage to put garage doors. 24 is ideal for people, but if it's that critical to get a couple more feet, we could look at doing something like that.
So, are there any other questions from members of the board? Okay, are there any questions from members of the public? So, Mr. Sadowski, why don't we do this? How about if we continue the public hearing to June 24th, so that you can discuss these proposed changes with the builder? Is that all right?
That's certainly all right, Mr. Chairman.
All right, very
And,
good.
and I'll revise the plan to slide the building over 3 feet
Okay,
and make sure that I'm outside the 25-foot zone.
all right. So shall we say June 24th at say 7:15?
That would be fine. I do have that night. I am there's a 200 by 84 foot addition that I'm doing in front of the Worcester Planning Board. I'm not sure of the time I'm on.
Okay.
Their meetings start at 6 o'clock, but 7:15 is fine. I mean, I'll be in front of the computer.
Understood, because they're also doing remote meetings, correct?
Right. So I got 3 computers in the room, so I guess I could put you on one and put Worcester on the other, and just hopefully they're not at the same time.
I'm sure you can figure it out.
Sure.
All right. In that case, is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 90 Tinker Hill Road to June 24th at 7:15?
Tom Fallon, so moved.
Is there a second?
Michelle Colrose, I'll second that.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay, it's a vote. All right, Mr. Zadowski, thank you for your participation. I'm sorry you couldn't connect with the computer, but we will talk to you on June 24th at 7:15.
Yeah, I heard the gentleman from the Auburn Water District couldn't get through either with the number that he was supplied to get on video-wise. Is it, before you
I was
close
having a
completely,
problem
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go
does
ahead.
does the lady who was interested with the house being moved want to do a site walk, and I'll meet her out there?
So Allison, you want to take a visit? Have you been there?
No, it would be great to visit there on Saturday after we do the other visit.
Okay, so
What time would that be, Mr. Chairman, or
Well-
Allison?
well,
Whatever you think, Mr. Chairman.
we're meeting with the Auburn Water District. That's on June 20th, so it's actually a week from this Saturday at 9 a.m. We could probably meet you on Tinker Hill Road. So shall we say 10 o'clock?
That'd be fine.
All right, so we will plan to meet you on June 20th at 10 a.m.
You know, that would be fantastic. I really think that the board should see the lot itself and understand just how the lot sits.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the reason why the house is where it is. So I think it's just good because we're trying to protect resource areas. You guys are volunteers, I understand. And I don't want to do anything to harm the environment either.
Terrific. All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much for agreeing to do a site walk with me.
Oh, no problem. We always do them, but of course, these are different times, so I appreciate you.
I understand completely, but that's why I suggested it, because I wanted to step out because it's only fair to do that.
Absolutely. Okay, very good. We'll see you on June 20th then.
Thank you, and I didn't mean to over talk you or not direct my questions through you, Mr. Chairman. I know that's not the rules of etiquette. Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't do it again.
I won't.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to it. Very good. Good evening, sir.
I won't hit any golf balls in your backyard either. I'll see you later.
All right. The next hearing on our agenda is a 7:40 public hearing. Eastland Partners, Inc., a notice of intent for the proposed construction of a two-family structure with decks, installation of all utilities to service the structures, and associated grading with the 100-foot buffer zone at 31 and 33 Albert Street. Is there a motion to open?
Tom Fallon, so moved.
Is there a second?
Nathan Randall, second.
Allen seconded.
All right, we're going to give it to Nathan because he was first. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, is there anyone here on behalf of Eastland Partners?
My name's Peter Lavoie, and I am here representing Eastland Partners. I work for Turning Point Engineering.
Well, good evening, Mr. Lavoie. I hope you didn't wait too long.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Okay, so if you would, just give us a brief summary of your project.
Okay, so like I said, I'm here for Eastland Partners. We have a vacant lot, which is roughly 75,000 square feet in size, on a new cul-de-sac at the end of Albert Street. We have wetlands located in the back of the property, so from the cul-de-sac back to the wetland, that's how the topography slopes on the lot.
Mm-hmm.
What we would like to do is we're proposing a duplex lot, roughly 80 feet from the wetland line. The duplex will be serviced by water and sewer from the cul-de-sac. We are proposing two recharge areas for the roof, so all the downspouts will be connected to these two recharge locations, which are shown on the plan. And we have straw wattles that would be staked out by a land surveyor and installed around the proposed project area. We are proposing no work within 50 feet of the wetland. That is the closest grading location for the project. So we also have approval from the planning board. We had to submit site plan review through the planning board. We did get that approval May 26th. We also submitted a special permit with ZBA, and that was also granted through the process for the special permit. That's basically the project.
Okay, now can you tell me how many units are going to be constructed as in the subdivision, sir?
The total number of units for this cul-de-sac, is that what you're saying? That's what you're asking?
Yes.
So there'll be a total of 4 duplex structures, so it'll be 8 units.
Okay. We received comments from the DEP actually this afternoon, late this afternoon, and you probably haven't had the opportunity to see them, although maybe you did.
No, I did see them, yes.
Okay, and so you can see that they're requesting that a stormwater report and stormwater checklist be prepared and reviewed by both us and DEP.
So as part of the subdivision, that was reviewed by Graves and approved already for the subdivision, and it did take in account the duplex units for that stormwater report, and that was just recently reviewed by Graves.
Was that
because
for the,
we go ahead.
was
I'm
that
sorry.
For the planning? No, that's all right. Was that for the planning board?
That was for the planning board. We just submitted a modification to the planning board, and we received comments from Graves also today, or it was yesterday, because we had planning board yesterday, and they have no issue with the stormwater report.
Well, sir, since, that's kind of our bailiwick, we
Yeah.
would certainly like to have the opportunity to see the Graves report ourselves. And actually, I'm a little
Okay.
surprised why we didn't get a copy of it.
Basically, it's because the modification was submitted to the planning board, not, I guess that they didn't submit it to conservation.
You would be correct, sir. So, I think for that reason, Mr. Lavoie, and just out of an abundance of caution, and because frankly, it is within our jurisdiction, and we are interested in what Graves had to say about the stormwater aspects of this project, I would suggest that we continue the public hearing to June 24th as well. I'm only speaking for myself, but I would be happy to hear from other members of the commission.
Tom Fallon, I concur with the chair.
Any comment from other members?
Carolyn Coyle, I concur with the chair.
Okay,
I concur with the chair, this is Carolyn.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Is there any public comment? Any members of the public that would have anything to say about this project? All right. So, Mr. Lavoie, do you have the authority to continue the public hearing on this matter to June 24th?
That is correct. I would continue to the next meeting, yes.
Okay, so why don't we say June 24th at 7:30?
Okay?
Okay. Can I have a motion to that effect?
I make a motion that we continue Red Elson.
This is Allison. I'm going to make a motion that we continue this to the next hearing on June 24th at 7:15. Sorry, did I hear that one?
7:30.
7:30.
Very good. Is there a second?
Nathan Randall, second.
Thank you, Nathan. Is there any discussion? All those
Wondering about a site walk, maybe?
I think a sidewalk would be it. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Why don't we, since there's a motion that's been seconded, when we vote on the motion, we can talk about a sidewalk, okay? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, it's unanimous. So, Mr. Lavoie, about that sidewalk. We actually are going to be going out and visiting some properties on June 20th, so that's a week from this Saturday. Would you be available on June 20th?
Yes, I would.
Okay. So as it turns out, Albert Street is actually not far from Tinker Hill Road.
That is correct.
So could we plan to meet with you, say, at 10:30 on June 20th?
That sounds good to me.
All right. Then in that case, we'll see you on 6/20 at 10:30.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll see you then.
Thank you. Okay,
Okay. Good night.
good night.
Okay. So we have a couple of orders to enter, but before we do that, we received a complaint actually a while ago about a pipe coming from the slope of 341 Leicester Street and going to a pond located at 343 Leicester Street. So on Saturday, I traipsed into the woods and lo and behold, I don't know if it's PVC, but there is a pipe that goes from a slope at 341 Leicester Street that goes into the pond at 343 Leicester Street. And I don't know why there's a pipe going into 343 Leicester Street. I don't know how long it's been there, although it looks like it's been there for a while. I will say that no one ever requested our permission to install a pipe. I imagine it's drainage of some kind, but again, I don't know why. What is the board's thinking about this? Have any of you been able to go out there and take a look at it?
This is Allison.
This is Carolyn.
Sorry, a little bit of a delay there. I haven't been out there before, but it looks similar to like a sump pump discharge or maybe a laundry. I would suggest we have someone investigate it somehow.
Perhaps maybe a letter to the property owner at 341 Leicester Street?
Yeah,
Okay.
perhaps.
I mean, I just think it may be harmless, but again, and I don't know how long it's been there, but it caught someone's attention, and someone obviously thought it was maybe improper. So I think we need to maybe contact the homeowner at 341 Leicester Street and find out what's going on. So if that, are there any other comments from the board?
This is Carolyn. Yes, this is Carolyn. I did go by, and I don't know why it's going into bond, and I think we do need to see the residents at 341.
Okay. So is there a motion?
I move, this is Michelle Koras, I move that we send a letter to whoever owns 341 Leicester Street, send them a letter saying that they need to come in and kind of explain that.
I think that's a swell idea.
What it does.
Should they come on June 24th?
Or, yeah, like if they could, join the meeting on June 20th, yeah.
24th?
24th, sorry,
That's
June
okay.
24th.
Yes.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion, Tom Val.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's a vote. I will prepare a draft, and I will submit it to Ginger, and hopefully she can get it out within the next few days. Okay, we have some other, there are other items listed on our agenda. I'm going to take them out of order. So apparently there was a call from a James Buckley complaining about an illegal filling of wetland at 404 Leicester Street. I did a drive-by on Saturday. I did not stop at the property. I did not see, frankly, a wetland, and I did not see any evidence of filling, but I also did not go onto the property or speak to the property owner. So I actually hope to do that perhaps in the next week or so. With respect to, so that was number 4. With respect to number 3, there were questions from a Julie Carlson at 250 Leicester Street about Darkbrook. I don't remember seeing any questions, so I don't know if I didn't get them. I'm not quite sure what that is. I would suggest we carry that over to the next agenda for June 24th. With respect to number 2, which is Deborah Nurse at 17 Goddard Drive, it appears she's having issues with water runoff from her backyard. I did not have an opportunity. Go ahead.
I stopped there tonight before I came here.
Okay.
And was able to actually talk to her.
All right. This is Michelle. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
Okay.
Michelle.
All right, Michelle. Continue.
I think that. So I looked at it. I mean, obviously it was pretty dry this evening. There was quite a bit of damage done from the runoff. So I asked her what she was looking for. What are you looking to do? And if there was a wetland, because I didn't see, I mean, it was bone dry.
Okay.
Besides the runoff damage, it was bone dry. So I had asked her what she wanted done and where the wetland was, that she would contact us. And she was like, oh, there isn't a wetland, because there was a big pool right there as well. And she's like, but the tree is going to come down into my pool. And I was like, well, if there isn't a wetland, this isn't really our jurisdiction. I think she was thinking by contacting us that we were going to replace her flowers and her stuff,
Okay.
and maybe take down the tree.
Could she explain to you what she thought was causing the runoff into her backyard?
It's the way her yard slopes. So it looks like they built it up a little bit, like her pool area.
Okay.
It looks like they built up her pool area, and now the way it drains down, and the way that basically her yard is, it drains down into the back half of her yard. So it's on one side. So if you are looking at her house, the left-hand side of her house, it drains down where her garden was, and it kind of rips on one side. So I was like, look, you're going to need to either plant grass there so it, plant grass there so it doesn't rip down and it actually, absorbs into the ground better. It looks like the flower bed that she had, it just kind of,
Wash out.
it eroded away. I mean, it eroded away.
Okay.
In the back half, where the trees are, there's a pine tree that the way the runoff is going, it is eroding. I don't necessarily see where it's going to drop into her pool. I think she just wants it. I think she just wants the tree gone, and I think that she thought that we were going to pay for that. And I was like, no, I don't think that that's going to happen.
So my question is, was there anything that you saw at the property that confers jurisdiction on the conservation?
None. Not even a little.
Okay, so
No.
this apparently is a dispute, and these things actually do happen where, for whatever reason, due to topography or other reasons, water runoff can seriously impact an adjacent property. But again, if it's not wetland related, I don't see that we have jurisdiction in this matter.
Yeah, we don't. And she even said, no, I'm not on a wetland. If they have a pool there, they have everything else. I mean, if they've gotten, and the tree was like right there. So, I mean, if they did, they built the pool illegally too. So, yeah, no, I did not see, it was bone dry everywhere.
Okay.
I did not see anything even remotely, not any plants, not any water, nothing. No.
Understood.
So,
It might, Ms. Nathan, I went by also and I agree 100%. It has nothing to do with conservation.
Okay, all right, that's good enough for me. And then finally, again, going in reverse order, number one, there was a question or a request for guidance from property owners at 278 and 280 Bryn Mawr Avenue about saving trees from erosion at the shoreline. I don't know that there's anything that we can do. We don't have the funds to assist in that. I don't know if there's any guidance from DEP, but perhaps we can make a further inquiry. The reality is that this has been a problem we've seen at other properties over the years, and don't get me wrong, it's unfortunate to see trees erode because of a change in a water line or other conditions. But in fact, I know several years ago, probably from whether it was because of high water or a serious storm event, there were trees that were toppled in various ponds, and I know we received calls about what, if anything, the Concom could do about it, and the answer is there's frankly nothing we can do about it. We don't have the funds to remove the trees, and it's really sort of beyond our ability to remediate those issues. But I will contact DEP and see if they have any guidance or can make any suggestions regarding that issue. All right, so we closed 2 public hearings tonight. Both were requests for determination of applicability. With respect to the replacement of sheds at 23 Pinrock Road, is there a motion?
this is Allison Holmes.
Okay,
I
Allison?
would like to make a motion that we issue a negative determination of applicability with the condition that he do try to move the shed as far out of that 50 zone buffer.
Okay, so do
possible.
you want him to remove the shed out of the 50-foot buffer zone entirely?
I want him to try to do better.
Okay, so that's kind of
A vague
I think
statement.
you can be more definitive than that, I think. Just a suggestion.
Is there any other suggestions from anyone else to help me with that?
I think you just condition the negative determination that the shed be taken out of the 50-foot buffer zone. You can do it, be that straightforward about it.
Excellent. Well, I would like to make a motion that we issue a negative determination of applicability with the condition that he not put the new shed within the 50-foot buffer zone.
Okay.
Tom Fallon, I'll second that motion.
Is there any discussion? There being none, all those who approve say aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
It's unanimous. It's a vote. Thank you. And then for Jacob Warren, the request for determination of applicability to construct the pool at 4 Whitetail Run. Is there a motion?
Tom Fallon, I make a motion that we issue a negative determination for the construction of a 16 by 33 above ground pool and deck at 4 Whitetail Run in Auburn.
Is there a second?
This is Allison. I'll second that.
I'll second that.
All right. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous, and we have a vote. Okay. Is there any other business that you'd like to discuss this evening?
This is Allison. I have one quick question.
Sure.
Do we have results from the MVP analysis on our town for the most vulnerable places? I'm not sure if that's the right, but it identifies places that we should be concerned about for climate change. Do you know if any of that's been presented to the board before?
I think we might have an answer for you. Please, you have the floor. And this is Darlene Coyle.
Thank you. So the town planner has done much work on the MVP grant over the past year, and is currently in process of seeking many. We did a plan that went to the state and received approval, and now through that plan approval, there's also pieces of that we are applying for grants to implement the plan. If you're looking for specific reports, we can certainly share those with the board. Does that answer your question, Allison?
Yeah, thank you so much. That would be great.
Okay, would you like a?
Yeah, is that easy to distribute somehow?
Sure, we can definitely give the commission update on the MVP status. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
That'd be great. Has anyone had a chance to look at the meeting minutes for April 22nd? And there's no shame if the answer is no. Maybe it's
No.
Well, there's a little shame.
No, haven't.
All right. So it's as I look at this document, it's a daunting document. It's about 20 past 8. I would suggest that we take up the meeting minutes for April 22nd, our next meeting, unless anyone is just really eager to go over them line by line and spend the next 20, 25 minutes on these.
I vote no.
Was that Michelle?
I'll second that.
I vote no. This is Carolyn. This is Carolyn. I vote no.
Okay. I think we have a consensus then. Okay. In that case, then, if there's no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion. Tom Fallon, I make a motion we adjourn this public hearing.
Is there a second?
This is Allison. I'll second that.
That's pretty good. Is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And it's unanimous. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. I hope you're, becoming a little more comfortable doing these remote meetings, and I figure we'll get the hang of it by the end of the year. Hopefully before then. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Mike?
And
Hey, Mike.
and we'll see you on June 20th.
All right. See you then.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you.